Everyone is trying to figure out the formula to a successful music career, either a viral hit record or some type of secret marketing hack. But all of those things are like hitting the lottery, or they don't actually exist. And yes, making great music is a big part of it, but it's also the smallest piece of having a long, successful music career. There is an X factor, and that is having a strong personal brand. Imagine walking through the beverage aisle of a grocery store. Hundreds of different flavors and brands, each one of them advertising something different to the consumer. Some promote having 0 calories, less sugar, and others just try to beat out the competition by having the lowest possible price. And some even have a long-time rivalry, just claiming that they taste better than the other one. Well, the same principle applies to the music industry with your own brand as an artist, producer, or songwriter. That's what I've been helping so many music creatives understand. I call it music branding mastery. Once I realized this, it changed the whole trajectory of my career, and I was honestly no longer focused on chasing viral records or asking random people on social media to follow me. Music branding mastery allowed me to focus on making the music that I want, and it brought the audience to me. And best of all, I was able to monetize every single aspect of what I loved and enjoyed doing. My name is Kato on the track, and I'm a Billboard charting music producer and entrepreneur. I've been making music for over 14 years now. I've worked with multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated artists like Joyner Lucas, B.O.B., K-Camp, Tory Lanez, Master Killa and Inspector Deck of Wu-Tang Clan, Jaron Benton, Jack Harlow, Hopsin, and many more. So the truth is that you can be a really good artist, you can have great music, but nobody knows who you are. That's just the reality. You have to become a part of the conversation. And remember that, because that theme is going to come up over and over throughout this video. So not only have I seen this in other people's careers, but I've also experienced it in my own career as well. As a producer, there was a time where I felt like I had better beats than everyone else. All the top producers, I felt like I had as good beats, if not better beats than they did. But I was nowhere near their same level of exposure, and it was frustrating. My beats were good, but that alone by itself didn't make me a part of the conversation. But as time went on and I started working with and surrounding myself with more artists that were on the rise, and some artists who had already achieved the highest levels of the music industry, I realized one thing, that their brand was what made them special. People connected to them, their voice, their music, their message, their image, and their music was just the vehicle. And yes, of course, it sounded good, it was well mixed, it was polished, but it connected with an audience because of them. And that's when I realized what I was missing this whole time. Because even with all the production credits that I had had after working with all of these artists, it only made me a footnote. It only got me a shout out here and there, but it didn't make me a part of the conversation. To build a brand, you have to be a part of the conversation somehow. Why is Kato being talked about? What makes him so special? Why should people even care? In all honesty, I produce music for some of the biggest, most recognizable names in hip hop, but there are a lot of other producers out there who have way more accolades, way more trophies, way more accomplishments than I have. But there's one thing that I do have, and that's the audience. And with that audience, I'm able to have a pretty successful career as a music producer that extends even outside of just the music. And I say that to say that it's proof that you can do it too as an artist, a producer, or a songwriter. Now, there's a pretty good chance that you've probably felt how I used to feel back then. And you might even be experiencing that right now, where you can't seem to get your music to resonate with an audience or build a fan base on your own with the music alone. And your goal might even be to get signed to a major label, and all of that is totally fine, but none of that is going to happen unless you can get their attention first. And that will not happen until you have a brand, because ultimately that's what labels are investing in. You might have heard of a 360 deal. It's almost become like an industry standard for a lot of these labels. A 360 deal is essentially where a record label signs you, but they generate revenue off of everything that you do, from the music to shows and touring to merchandise and so on. That is proof right there that these labels understand that the real value, the real money is in the brand. So here are some of the reasons why I believe that focusing on building a brand is so important. Number one is it's the biggest difference between a one-hit wonder and an artist that has a core fan base with fans that support them long-term through everything that they do because they've built that relationship with them. So ask yourself, do you want a successful song or do you want a successful career? Number two is that there's only so many ways that you can actually monetize the music itself, and all of them require a significant investment on the front end to see any type of return. There are infinitely more ways to monetize a successful brand, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Number three is that there's only one of you. So while 40,000 new songs release on Spotify every single day competing for people's attention, all you have to do as a successful brand is be the best version of you. This ultimately puts you in the driver's seat and gives you complete control over your destination. It's a huge game changer to be in control of your own career and not have to rely on things like luck and a ton of marketing dollars to make you successful. And look, I know you're watching this and you're probably saying, Kato, how do I do all this stuff that you're talking about? I won't lie to you. It is hard. It's the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. It's much easier said than done. I get it. I've been there. I've done it. But there is good news. With a little knowledge, a little direction, hard work, and know-how, you can create a fan base that will support you. Before I achieved any sort of success in the music industry, I always used to wonder to myself what it would be like. What if I could wake up and just focus on making music every single day? What if I was my own boss and had complete creative control over my music? What if I had dedicated fans around the world that supported me in whatever I did and was financially completely set? And I'm living proof that it's not only possible, but right now it's more attainable than in any time before. So we're not gonna waste any time. In the next video, I'm gonna show you the first steps to actually building your brand, and it's probably a lot easier than you think it is. I've also got some exciting news. In the next few days, I'm going to be launching my course, Music Branding Mastery. But there's only gonna be limited access, just like how I do it on my Sound Advice tour. I like to keep my groups super small and intimate so that people will get the best experience possible. So what I did was create an early access list for people that want to reserve their spot before it opens to the general public. Just click the link in the description or somewhere on this screen and enter your information so I can add you to the early access list and send you the information as soon as it's open. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just know that there is much more to come. If you have any questions, drop a comment below or send me a message, send me an email. And as I mentioned before, in the next video, we're gonna actually dive into how to start building your brand. And I'm even gonna give you guys an example of an artist that I've worked with in the past who has done this incredibly successfully. Literally gone from being a nobody in the music industry that nobody knows, doesn't have any fans, to making himself a part of the conversation. We'll talk about how he did it. See y'all soon. Peace.